There's been lots of conversation change in the last little while. We were talking firstly about hunkering down, about bringing our businesses home, centralising them, making sure we had businesses and activities to undertake. But lately, just lately, as the doors are opening, we're beginning to have conversations about something afterwards. And it's distressing me because we've had lots of conversations about a brave new world after COVID, but yet we insist on using the word going back. All I'm hearing is going back to work, going back to school. The reality is, as business owners, as people running robust SMEs, we can't. We just can't go back. And the one thing I beg of you is don't. Let's not go back. Instead, let's go forward. Look, I understand why we talk about going back. It's part of a romantic notion that we want to go back and we want to forget. But the reality is we can't go back and we can't forget. The world has changed too much. We've changed too much. Humans have changed too much. Employment's changed too much. The economy's changed. The way we work, everything has changed dramatically. We know that. We've lived through it. We've felt every one of those moments. In fact, we can't go back even if we could, even if by some DeLorean myth that doesn't exist could take us back there. We can't, because it's not safe anymore. We just don't know what's right and wrong. Look, the only thing that's certain for now is uncertainty. Every time we think we understand something about COVID and its impact, the goalpost changes. So we just can't go back and do what we did before. Instead, you and I have to take the brave and the audacious step. You and I have to go forward. We have to figure out a way to work, to grow our businesses, and to do what we did before in a post-COVID world. I've been having those conversations a lot over the last week or so with clients around the globe, large corporations, small corporations, entrepreneurs, startups, and most importantly, SMEs. I want to take you inside those conversations. I want to share with you the tidbits, the things that we're talking about and the things that we're beginning to plan for. Importantly, I want to share with you the structure, how we're going about doing it. Because the one thing we know for sure is that there is a lot more change ahead. So join me as we begin to explore what it means to go forward. So let's begin the journey forward. Let's have a look at what a post-COVID SME business might look like. One of the first things we need to come to terms with is the reality that humans, you and I, have obviously been affected by COVID. We've been shifted and reshaped because of it. We're reacting and thinking and having different priorities because of what we've been through in the last couple of months. We can't assume that the person we were before is exactly the same person now. You and I know that at some level we've changed. Our thinking's changed, our priorities have changed, what's important has changed. The things that we were going to buy, perhaps we've now delayed. The things that we never thought we would buy, now becoming more important. It's those same thoughts that we need to take into an exploration of our customers as we begin to understand who our post-COVID customer is. We need to understand that they, like us, have shifted, that they have changed their priorities, that even though their name and title might be the same for you, the reality is the way they buy, what they buy, when they buy, what's important to them may have shifted. We can't assume that it's exactly the same, nor should we. We need to be asking ourselves what's fundamentally changed about that person, that business, or that industry that we're supplying? And how can we react best in a post-COVID world to help them to continue to be our customers? What do they need of us? How do they need it? What and where do they need it? And what conversations do they need from us? We really do need to understand the customer as they are post-COVID. We also have the opportunity through COVID to ask ourselves, are there new customers? Are there new opportunities, new industries, new places, new people that we could visit? Because our product has shifted also. There may be a different important, there may be a different marketplace. There also may be a different sort of customer. Maybe our customer was somebody who came into our physical stores or our physical shops or our physical offices, but we're now engaging with them online. That doesn't make them a different customer, but it does make them a very different buying person. Their buying cues, the things that are important to them, have shifted and changed. So the customer that's post-COVID looking forward might be a very different one to the one we left behind. Let's review and think about moving forward, who and what and where and why, and when they might be a customer. Along the same lines are our staff, our wonderful people. They've gone above and beyond. They truly have done the extraordinary in the last few months. For some, unfortunately, the work just couldn't carry through. We need to thank them at the very least for the work they did for us in the past. For others, it's gone on hiatus because the work they needed to do couldn't be done anywhere else except in the one physical space that we weren't able to get to. For them, we need to bring them back into the organisation. We need to thank them for hibernating. We need to reassure them that the workplace is safe. We need to re-engage them with other people because they've been without them for quite a while. There'll be some team building or tribe building that needs to be done. Lots of things that we need to do to make people comfortable again, being around each other and working with each other again. And for the staff that have been able to take their work home, they have done extraordinary work. They've literally taken your business and put it into their home. They've been doing work at all hours using equipment that either was or wasn't suitable, but they made it suitable. They've gone above and beyond. They're working project and task. They're doing it in between everything else they needed to do to keep themselves and their families safe. The reality is, for that extraordinary work alone, every single one of them and you deserves a gold medal. Look, you may not want to go to the gold medal, but you certainly need to go to the applause and to the thanking. You also need to ask the questions of what have they done differently and what lessons have you learned across all three categories? What is it that you can bring into the post-COVID business? Is there a work practice? Perhaps it's a fluid work practice where some of the work gets done at your premises, but other things aren't as relevant or aren't as necessary to be done in a centralized place. And they can be done wherever the worker wants, at home, in the office, on the road, as long as they're meeting deadlines and meeting quality standards. Are those the lessons that we've learned? What is it that that staff member, that human coming back to us, has experienced that they need to carry on with? Perhaps they do want to have more family time. Perhaps they do want to have more recreational time. Again, all of it's a negotiation, but you can't just assume the person coming back to you is exactly the person that left you. In fact, it would be very strange if they were. There are lots of questions going forward that you and I need to ask about our staff. And one of the most difficult ones for an SME or for any business of any size is, do you need the employees you had before? Do you need exactly the same people? Do you need more or less of them? Do you need different skill sets? Are there skills or things that your people did for you while they were in COVID that they've never done before? Or are they things they didn't need to do in COVID, but they did before? Maybe there's legacy systems and protocols that you've done before, things that you just did routinely, everybody did, nobody really thought much about, that because time was precious, because resource wasn't available, they just stopped doing them, but yet everything functioned anyway. There are lots of things about our staff and the way they worked that we need to be asking ourselves. And that brings us to the workplace, the physical place that everybody had to move away from as soon as COVID came into our lives. Does the workplace fit a post-COVID world? Is it possible for people to stay apart from each other as we're told to do? Are they able to wash? Are they able to keep themselves clean? Are they able to do what's necessary? Can they congregate? Do we need to stagger work times? Do we need to stagger entrances? We really do need to look at the workplace, the physical place that we're asking people to come back to. We need to make sure that it is COVID ready, that it is forward facing, and that it is appropriate. And if it's not, perhaps part of the future workplace is in fact inside the homes of our staff. Maybe. So are their workplaces, their home workplaces, resourced properly? Now that we have time, now that we can strategize, perhaps there are things we need to do to help them to work wherever, whenever. And again, that helps ourselves as SMEs. Moving forward, there are lots of questions you and I need to ask. I'm going to answer some of them in this video piece. There'll also be another accompanying video piece, and we'll talk about other matters which again are the interests, the things that we're having broader conversations of around the globe, the things that I'm certain you and I need to be across. I want to talk to you in the next video about products and services and how they might have changed and what you might need to do to update, refresh, or make them future or forward ready. I want us also to have a look at sales and marketing in this next piece and talk about how we might be able to update, change, refresh, and again, make our sales and marketing activity forward-looking. And innovation. If we've done nothing else in the last couple of months, we've innovated and innovated every moment of every day as everything changed for us. What lessons of innovation have we learned? There are lots of things I want you to carry forward on. Not because we have to, but because we want to. We might have the opportunity, in fact, we will have the opportunity in our forward business to say that we are capable of change, that we can evolve and we can take our lessons and learn them quickly. What all of that gives us, which is really what it comes to at the end of these conversations, is what is your forward or future business model? What is it that you come out of COVID being? How different do you need to be? How do you need to react? What is your post-COVID business? I'd love to chat to you about those, and there's an opportunity for us to get together in a strategy session. If you have a look around my website, you'll find the opportunity to do that, and I would love to catch up and you and I can have the conversation about your forward business. At the very least, I'd love you to have a look at the next video piece so that I can cover off those areas I've just briefly described, because the reality is that what we're talking about is the future. It's the future of you, of your staff, of your customers, of your industry, and importantly, it's the future of your SME business. Who will you be when you get out of COVID? We know we can't go back. Back just doesn't exist. Let's take the best of who we were. Let's take the lessons we've learned from COVID, and let's figure out who we are when we go forward.